Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're going to do it. All right, let's get into some of the meat and potatoes of how we do these studies.
All right.
Okay, so now let me screen share and we'll go right to New Jerusalem. All right, and let's put in, let's put in this date, just because I'm familiar with it. Okay, what you're gonna get is this what you're looking for, Lilian? Every place this is highlighted, the positions, you want to go through each one like this, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, from the verse, this is your verse number right here. Okay. And that's going to be your standard position. You need to kind of get your bearings right here with what you're looking for usually. Okay. So I don't necessarily read through all of it. I skim it because I'm doing a lot of, I got to go through this quickly. Okay, so I see that it's talking about the course of the Levites and manners of service. So okay, Passover. Okay, and I see that right over here they go from the beginning of the Bible. This is the beginning. This is Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go straight to the end of the Old Testament, just like that. Boom, boom. They're spanning beginning to end, Old Testament, right there, right off the bat. He's hitting the whole thing. So you're getting an overall picture right there of what he's talking about. So here you got the priest course, and here you have the Passover offering. Okay, and there's priests here because they're offering. Okay, so there's priests. Interesting. Okay, so let's go now to the end of the Bible. That's Revelation, all the way to the end. So they're going beginning, middle, kind of, end of the Old Testament, all the way to the end. And those are the first three that he's gives you. So keep that in mind. This is kind of the framework, if you will, of what you're going to be looking at. And we see these kings. These are evil kings, if I remember right, Babylon's princes. So we have like princes here, priests and princes, good and evil. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of generalize it and put a connection, make a general connection there. And then we go to the next. You see how this dark here? This one up here is dark too. It says verse position. This one says from Esther. So both of these verses in between here, okay, is from Esther. How is that? How can that be? Well, one is going this way and the other is going that way. Okay. And so it's just taken both directions. And you might want to go forward, but you might want to go backwards. So this is going backwards, obviously. That is from Esther all the way to Exodus. So you went backwards. All right. Now this one's going forward. So backwards is first, forwards is second, just like up here. The Old Testament first, the end second. So the earliest is first, the last, you know what I mean? The latest is second, as it's listed. He's kind of keeping with the position that he's holding. He's holding still the same. He's not skipping around, okay? Which is kind of nice. Very nice. So
I got a stupid question.
Go ahead. There's no such thing.
So how did they come up with Esther 2:7?
Okay. Let's go to Esther 2:7. Well, you can't click that. You have to click Esther 2:7. Let's go there and I'll show you. This is the first and only reference of Hadassah.
Oh.
So if you watched his video He goes into real detail about Hadassah. Larry took a little snippet of that. I loved what he said about it. So if you want to see just that snippet, go to Rivka and find the snippet of this called the pillars, New Jerusalem pillars, 7 pillars. And those pillars we've just highlighted, I think he took, I don't know, Larry, it was like 7 minutes maybe. It was a short snippet of a long video that covers Hadassah and who he believes Hadassah represents. We have a modern day Hadassah that is referenced, he believes, because of the numbers, is Elisha, a modern day Elisha today. A prophet in a female, a second witness is a female.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa. So when you see Esther, what I see, what I sense, now you'll get your own, Lilian, you'll get your own sense. But what I'm sensing based upon what he said too, and what I have seen, is that she represents the church or the church age. But I see her as the church because she is the one who rescues Israel. Okay? She's one, and she's placed in there, and she took on she was a Jew, but it was hidden. Like us. We are a Jew, but it's hidden. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so there's a connection here with Elisha, according numerically what Wade Balzer found. And wow, I was like way excited to see that. So that's where you get Esther, and why he chose Esther was the Lord told him where to go, literally. I mean, he knows exactly what he found and why they are pillars. And that's the only reference of Hadassah in the entire Bible. Okay.
Okay. Now it makes perfect sense.
All right. I that's one thing I was going to cover right when we got cut off. So I'm glad you brought me back to that. Thank you, because the people will want to know. Okay. So these ones are obvious. Beginning, Malachi is the end of the Old Testament. Beginning, Genesis, Malachi, beginning, end. And here's the real end. This is Revelation. But now we get
make another comment, just a suggestion.
Yeah.
I never understood what the pillars were for like the first 6 or 7 times I was on with you. And I would let her know why are those 6 things sitting right there? 1 Kings, Esther, Song of Solomon.
Yeah.
And so forth.
We're going to go through each one. This is from Esther. We've talked about why Esther now is so important. So we're going backwards and we're going forward from Esther. And then we go to 1 Kings. Okay, 1 Kings. Now I want to take you to 1 Kings. Make sure it's right. 16:34. It's the last reference of that chapter. Last reference of the chapter. And what this is the last and final reference of Joshua, son of Nun, or Noon. Okay, this is the last reference. He doesn't tell you this in his, Wade Balzer doesn't explain this in anywhere. The way I found that, what is, I wrote him and I asked him, way early on, what's the deal with Esther? What's the deal with 1 Kings? I don't understand. So then he told me. So he said it's the last reference of Joshua, son of Nun, or Noon, which means Yeshua, salvation, the son of perpetual, eternity. Okay, he's got an eternal seed. That's what Noon means.
Yep.
Okay, so, and all these numbers are in here, are right here when you click the verse. When you click the verse number of any scripture, you click that, you're going to come to this page, which breaks down everything for you. Okay, this is word counts and everything. This is how many times that Strong's number has occurred. This is the 1,124th time, and there's 1,163 more to go of that number. That's a big one. It's the word days. So it's going to be a lot. You can see the numbers that are just one. Those are one-hit wonders, with nothing after. One hit wonders.
Yeah.
I love those. So this is the only hit on these names too. So not only is Joshua son of Nun, okay, that's the last reference there, but these names right here, that's it. You're never going to find them again. Okay, so that's, and then the Sagub, he's got one, and there's only two. So he's mentioned one other time. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? You can kind of get an idea how frequent you're looking at these words mean. Okay, so let's scroll down past, and we got that. Joshua, son of Nun, Esther's name Hadassah, Joshua, son of Nun. Okay, and the next verse, I forgot to tell you that. After this verse, 1 Kings 16:34, after that, you go to 17, which is talking about Elijah.
Oh, yeah.
So right off the bat, if you see it, then Elijah comes into the picture. Okay, the prophet Elijah, which is big time, end times theme, Elijah. The prophet Elijah. Remember, Jesus said he's going to send forth Elijah, the prophet, before the great notable day of the Lord. Okay, so let's now go to this next one, Songs 8:5. Now, what is that? Well, he didn't, I don't know if he had this one when I didn't ask him about this one. I think this one was after. He got this one after. I'm positive it was after. Let me go to it. Songs 8:5, and I'll read it to you though. Okay.
Okay.
Songs 8:5. It's about the second coming. That's the way I always see it. Who is that comes up from the wilderness, leaning upon her beloved? I raised you up under the apple tree. There my mother brought you forth. There she brought you forth that bare thee. Okay, this is one of the pillars. See, because it's zeroed out right here. When you're on it, it's 0. So don't let that freak you out. Just have to understand what you're looking at. Some people, if they don't get it, they see this. What? How's this happen? It's 0. Well, because you're sitting on it. That's why.
Keeps track of everything.
That's right. Okay. So keep in mind, and I don't know why this one, why he chose it. I don't know the significance of this one, but it is significant as far as it goes. Now, so we have the two songs, the same thing as Esther. Why didn't this one go through both? Well, more than likely you ran out of space. There's not enough room to go both ways. If it's not twice there, like this one's twice, it's because it didn't go that far. Look, right here tells you the end.
Okay.
You got it, didn't you? Right here's how many you got to go. Well, that exceeds. So you ran out of room. There's just one. Next is, so songs is the same way, going forward or backwards and forward, always backwards first, forward second. And the third is some Isaiah. This is his last and 7th pillar that he added. This was only added this last year, okay? Or this year, actually. February, I think. And this one's about the Antichrist. This is about the time you're living in. Very, very, very good verse when you read Isaiah 5. Let me put it in. Isaiah. You don't have to put the period in. Now, when you put the period in, you don't have to do the period here. You put the period there in the middle of the numbers. When you do a period, watch what happens. You get the whole shebang. Everything lines out for you. Okay, this is the verse analysis. But if you put it in this way with the semicolon, like that, like normal, okay, it's not going to come up that way. You see, it's just going to take you to the verse and the whole chapter. But since you had previously had this one in there, and you're distancing, whenever you're on this page that shows you all the numbers, Lilian, that means you're going to be distancing. No matter where you go from then whatever you put in here, whatever number you click, it doesn't matter. It's going to distance it for you. Okay. It's going to take you to a distance no matter what. So I always put a period. I never do semicolon, never do colons, always period. Just train your mind, period.
Period.
Yes. Never put in a semi or a colon. Another hint, Lilian, is this. You're going to get, look at this. When you first use this site, you're going to get this. It's going to look like this. See all them numbers? They put every one of the Strong's numbers. This is the only one you're looking for. It's red. But they put all of them in. If you don't want to look all them numbers, and it took me years to figure that out, guess what? Just unclick the Strong's box. And they're gone. All of them are gone except one, the one you're searching. So you may have to click that 2 times when you first start the page. Sometimes I've noticed you have to click it twice for some reason. But then from then on, it will not be keeping track of those Strong's numbers. But when you're first learning, Lilian, you really might want to keep those in. Just so you get familiar with these numbers a little bit more. I learned the hard way, really, I did. But you pick this up, like, look at all them 6s, and that's the word righteousness. You see, things start clicking, and that's what you want to do. You're just going to have to learn it. Justify is 6663, righteous 6662. You see, and then this is it. So all them 666s there. That's how you get there. Just click that on. If you want all the Strong's numbers, click them off if you don't.
Okay.
Now that's a big nugget, little cheat trick in there. Okay, so we did songs now, and we did Isaiah. Oh, we didn't show you Isaiah yet. Isaiah 5:23. 5. See, period. You don't put in colon or just the period. Just train your finger to always just do it that way. So it zeroed it out right there on your pillar, your 7th pillar. I call it the 7th pillar because he added it last, but you notice it's not. It's the 5th. See, it's the 5th pillar actually. Here it is, which justify the wicked for a reward and take away the righteous of the righteous from him. So this was where we was at. I just didn't even think about where we were. But in an Apple, you can just slide. I'm just sliding my mouse or my pad here that's on my laptop. I can just slide it and it'll go forward or backwards. It's so cool. And it keeps track of everything up above. It keeps track of every page you go to. It doesn't delete them. They're always there unless you delete them. That's a different feature than what other computers have. So it's got better retention. You know what I mean? It retains things longer. So when you look at Isaiah, if you want to just go to Isaiah and see what does Isaiah 22 say or 5:22? Well, you just click the Isaiah. All right, it'll bring the whole chapter for you. All right, we got Violeta. Violeta? She's coming in. Hello? She's probably trying to figure out her mic. But see, you can see the whole chapter is revealed when you click just Isaiah. We'll do that for every book. So that's a little hint. Just click in Isaiah. All right. Violeta, are you there? Can you hear us? I mean, stop sharing for a second.
She's muted still.
Oh, you got to unmute yourself, hon.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. I don't know what happened.
Oh, really?
I've been here.
We decided to go longer and record another one.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
And so you're just kind of getting in on the very end of the second one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Probably, isn't that about right, Larry? Are we almost close to the 40 minutes on this one? I can see
I
here.
have to unmute myself. Actually, see, I think we were short on the first one because we talked for a little while before we started recording. But
Yeah.
anyway, it was around 41 minutes, and that up at the top doesn't.
Okay.
What we got to do is go to about 1 hour and 20 minutes, and that'll be 40 minutes into your second one, I
Okay.
think.
All right.
Yeah, because
All righty.
Okay.
Okay. Well, shall we stop for now and or just keep going? What do you guys think?
Hmm.
Stop and pick it up again is what I'm saying. Pick up another one, or do you want to wait till next week? Or I mean, it'd be next week for you guys. But yeah, we've already kind of covered all the basics. All the pillars are there, and everything basically laid out for us. I covered everything. So I didn't think I would get through it that fast. I thought this would take at least 2 or 3 meetings, but it didn't. Now I know I move fast, but you can go back and watch these. You can go back and they're not very long, and I'm right to the point. So that's kind of a plus.
Okay.
And then you'll take off and do your own thing. Now I know what you want to do is learn how to do it hands-on. We're going to get to that, but it's probably not going to be till next week before we get everybody through this portion, and then we'll move to the hands-on. Let's get into it and do it, and that's where you guys can actually participate as well. All
So
right.
are you going to do it on Thursdays?
The Thursdays for you, okay, for you, both of you, Violeta and Lilian, they're both on Thursdays at 5.
That's God. That's God, because I only have Wednesdays and Thursdays off consistently.
Wow.
I work a
Okay.
hospital schedule, so I'm 5 on, 5 off, 2 on, 2 off, and it's every other weekend.
Okay.
So, but it's every Thursday. And I'm like, yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
Violeta, will that work for you too?
Yeah, I have a flexible schedule, so it's not a problem.
Oh, perfect then.
Wow.
Michelle,
Yeah.
I have a suggestion of what you might do, because it's still kind of a beginning thing, is go to just a number and
Okay.
explain to them the number, how many numbers there are, whether Greek or Hebrew, the difference between the beginning and the end, and how the associates work.
The strong,
That's the basic
the strong
stuff. And
numbers?
that would be helpful for
Mhm.
both
All
of
right,
us.
let me start screen sharing that. I don't think I did. Okay. So he asked about Strong's numbers. Let's click this wicked. How about the wicked there? Okay, so you can notice I clicked anything that's highlighted. This gives you every book and where wicked is found, that particular Strong's number. Isn't that awesome? Look at that. You can see it all, boom, just like that. One look, and you see, wow, I love these graphs. Look at how many there is in these two.
Yeah. Wow.
And Proverbs are full of wicked. Okay, so I'm sure they're talking about our day, and they are. Here, then it starts dwindle off, but here you got to hit, and here you got to hit pretty good. And then you have some these are only Old Testament, because this is an Old Testament number. This is Hebrews. You're not seeing the Greek. Nope, there's no Greek here. There's no New Testament, just Old, because you're searching an Old Testament Strong's number. See? Okay, here is the meaning of it. Morally wrong, a bad person, guilty, condemned, ungodly, wicked man that did wrong. Notice in the boxes. Okay, the box is giving you the Strong's number, kind of like a graph. But Larry puts it this way, and I love when he shared it with me that way. If you hold up 10 fingers, okay, that's how many you have to deal with. You've got there's all there, right? That's all of them. Now, if I take 7, 5, 6, 3, let's say that's 3. Okay, I take 3 away, right? What's left? You know, 7, right? Well, that's all this box is. It's taking how many Strong's numbers you have, both Old and New Testament, and just the Old. See this number right here, this from 8674? That's how many Old Testament Strong's numbers there are. 8674. So that's a number you need to write down, remember, because it'll always be in this box for you. But that's what that's telling you, that that's the end of the Old Testament. So when you see that in a Strong's number, you're at the end of the Old Testament. The numbers, the Strong's numbers don't go any farther past that. Okay. Well, but this number's 7563. So how many left is there? If that's the total, what's left? Well, 1111 is left. So that's what the box is. Now from the end position, well, that's taking Old Testament and New Testament, putting them both together as one number. So that's like, this is old and this is new. And that's the total. Okay. And it's doing it that way. And this then is the total number. They don't put it here. They don't put you the number like they did here. But that number is this. 14298, and you'll just begin to remember it's like close to 14300, but it's just 2 less. 14298 is how many Old and New Testament Strong's numbers there are. Now you can do math calculations in that search box. So we're going to take 7563 away. That's the word wicked, and push enter. And there you have the other number, 6735. And here it is with the wicked one right here, okay? Because here it is now down here. You see how it's just, you've just repositioned it. If you click anything in this box, it's going to give you that page we were just on. But that number, since it's an associate, is now down here. If you click this one, you can click this too, but it's just going to take you to that number and where it's all found in the scriptures. You don't want that. You want every number, and you want it in these boxes and everything. So you have to click in the box, and then it'll give you all these boxes. So you click in the box, you get all the boxes. And notice that they're associates. So everyone in the box is going to be represented here. And this one here is now shifted. You see how it did that? It shifted this. That is now from this number, that is now the remainder to 8674. You see how that works? It's just simple math. That's all this is. It's like Larry says, you have 10, you take away 3, and that leaves 7. Okay. So
the mathematical definition of that is the complement, just a complement from the whole number.
Amen.
Yeah.
They call it an associate, but it's a complement. Yeah.
And Larry, this is what you were describing with the weaving of the stories within the Bible.
That's right.
And
Yeah, that's part of it. When she starts with the number, and then she'll go through 4 or 5 different reasons for whatever, but she comes back to either the same number or to its complement or to something that really ties them together. That's the weaving.
Or a theme, usually.
A theme,
in a completely different number. That's what you're looking for. But whatever number you're searching for, you kind of get a feeling for what its associates are. Oh, that's very important, to get a feeling for the theme that the Lord is speaking about. Okay, pain and sorrow, wicked wrong, and the waster Balak. Whoa, those all fit together. You see, those are all definitely negative words. Okay, so I think it'll take you a while to get used to that. Still rattles my brain sometimes, okay? And I'm not a real good mathematician, but I love numbers. I'm just not very good at math. But I see here the box is just basic math, subtraction, This is the Old Testament numbers. This is the Old and New Testament numbers. And this usually, sometimes this one here is the number you're actually searching. It's always the number you're searching, okay, right there. So they go from there and they go from the end. All right, now, what was the other thing, Larry, we wanted to cover? Strong's numbers? Did we cover all that, Strong's numbers?
Sorry, I keep muting myself. The other thing I think would be, okay, these numbers,
Mhm.
when you say there's only however many or 8,060 some, whatever,
Mhm.
Hebrew,
866.
really there's more words than that in the Bible. So how does that mean? What did they do? They actually alphabetized all the words. And so there's only 8,000 individual words.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And just every place it's used, it's
Mhm.
that same number.
Yeah,
And that's
because
by position, right?
the 8674 is the Strong's numbers. Okay, that's how many Old Testament Strong's numbers that there are. And that's the entire Old Testament. That is all the numbers that they give you. That's not every word counted. No, it's just the Strong's numbers. Now, from the end, that's how many Old Testament and New Testament Strong's numbers there are. So you add them both together, it's 14298 Strong's numbers. Okay, you go to 14298 and you see the box. It's got 10, all these zeroed out, right? That means you're at the bottom, you reach the end. And so over here though, you see this is 14298, your position that you're searching. From Old Testament, there's still 5624 going forward. Now that's a real shift in your mind. That's a mental shift right there, because it's actually calculating how many New Testament Strong's numbers, because this is calculating both old and new. This is just old, so this must be, since you're searching that number, this is the remainder, see? So if you crossed over, like Larry says, there's more numbers than 8674. Well, this one's a lot more. How much more? This much more. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because if you cross over this and you're putting in the number 8, 6, 7, 5, okay, you crossed over the number, right? Well, it's going to give you 1. You know that's a given. Okay, and you see here's the number you're searching, here's 1, but you're going into the what? Greek. You just crossed over. So this is a crossover place. Now you're in alpha. Okay, and now they're taking it off of the Hebrew. This is now the position of this one, and here's from 8674 you got 3051 in the Old Testament, but from the end is including both old and new, and that number now is subtracted from 14298, right? That's the total, and this is the remainder. Okay, so if you want that number, you have to just click it. Well, 8674 or 8675. This is the number for 8675. These are the Strong's associates, okay, for that number. You've just crossed over into the Greek with the number. Okay, and so this is notice there's no red here. There's no red in this one because it's not on a verse. It's actually a word count. I'm pretty sure. 8675. Well, so we'll click the 3. You scroll down. No, it's not a word count. Sometimes, for some reasons though, they don't put numbers +1, -1, first occurrence. +1, -1.
I never noticed that before.
Okay, so Tatanai is the, see over here, he'll give you the actual word you're looking for, 8674. We're looking for 8675. So see, it went 1 plus and 1 minus. It does that on this site. We didn't get to that, but this site will give you one number over and one number less, just so you can get a familiar, sometimes that matters. And nothing else matters, but the one before did, that hit, that was a direct hit on the theme I'm looking at. Rarely does that happen, but sometimes, okay? So they always give you the first, the one number ahead and one number behind. And that's what this is. That's what this one is right there. It tells you right there what it is. Okay, so then he's going to go right to the verses. Malachi, from the verse, Malachi. So we go from Genesis to the end of the Old Testament. Then you go from all the way to the end, all the way to Revelation. So that's the beginning, Old Testament, end of Old Testament, end of the whole Bible. And they're giving you the verses that that number matches with, okay? So it's really, it is so precise. It's very, very precise. And from Esther, that's the name of Hadassah. And here you have Rivka. This is the one we have our, Larry, look at that, see?
I see it.
We've crossed over something with Rivka, haven't we? See, this is a crossing over point, right? You crossed over into the Greek when you get to this verse, which Larry has on Rivka ministry. That's the verse that they put with the pot. Let her be thy master's son's wife. So that's a crossing over point right there.
I never noticed that.
I didn't either until just now. You see, there's so many things. How long have I done this? But until God shows you something. And when you follow that, the verses then start speaking against the theme in your mind. What was the theme? We're crossing over. We've crossed over into the Greek. Okay, so you start looking at the references there. And that one stands out to us just because, you know, it's talking about Rivka.
I have a question with that. You mentioned the logo, right? The Rivka logo.
Mhm.
And it's if I remember correctly, it's a female bending over and there's an urn with water, right?
A
Or
picture.
something
Yeah.
with water.
Mm-hmm.
Is that pointing to like the crossing over of the Jordan or the sign of Aquarius, the time frame that we're in, that these revelations are occurring?
Yeah, Larry, you want to address that?
I can. If you'll look right here, this is really what I consider our logo.
Yeah.
Okay, and right down here's that wording. And the
Mhm.
pot, remember Rebecca carried lots of water for the camels. And
Mhm.
so she had to have some kind of a bucket or something. We chose a pretty looking pot, but I chose it for a couple of reasons. I also, it reminded me of the guy Gideon, that he had everybody take pots and put candles in them. And they were going to break the pots. And when the light showed up, it was going to scare the enemy.
Mhm.
So anyway, but yeah, the woman that's at the well, we do have a picture of that in a couple places, like on the website, Rivka website.
Mhm.
And it's just a picture of Rebecca that we found. There's no really meaning or thought behind it, you know, just there.
Okay.
But this is the one I really consider to be the
logo. Okay.
logo.
For some reason, I was connecting it with Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, there's a lot to that because Rebecca carried, if you think about it, there were like 10 camels
Mhm.
that what's his name showed up with, Eleazar. And Rebecca, I don't know if you figured this out, but a camel can drink about 40 gallons of water.
A lot. Yeah.
That's those humps that they have. So 10 camels, there's a lot of water she had to go get.
Mhm.
And so the whole point of it was she was a worker that was just giving water. And so that's why over on the right-hand side, there's water pouring out.
Mm-hmm.
And on the left-hand side, there's the fire of God, you know.
Mm-hmm. Wow, water and fire.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and it does relate to our day absolutely. Even Neil brought that out, about how, Rivka is pouring water and out of her belly will flow rivers of living water. That's this Aquarius time that we're in. So it does relate. So you're right on. That's good thinking.
I don't want to be the one that throws water on the party, but so to speak. But it's where you're now at about 40 minutes of your second lesson. You can
Okay.
make them as long as you want, but just letting you know that.
All right. We're going to
I
stop
think.
then
I hope I'm
right
right.
here and see what we want to do. Okay. So everybody.
Okay.